Okay, good morning, Andy. So in yesterday class we have explained about the some introduction or demo class about the Java and what is about the layers that we are having in a full stack and all. So from today onwards we will start the UI class, Andy. So in UI, so we will discuss about the just wait. Okay, in UI we will discuss about so what is web technologies and all. So what are the tools we're gonna learn in this UI technology, UI full stack. Okay. So what are the frameworks you're gonna use in this UI for creation of the web elements. So and all we will discuss in this UI class, and so from today's onwards, so let's gonna start about the UI classes. So demo 2, and so why demo 2 means so in yesterday, so I have explained something about full stack. What is full stack and all? In full stack, so we are having so 3 layers, which is front end, nothing but of UI layer. So second is back end, which is of business layer, and third is database layer. Okay. So in these full stack, so now let's start the class regarding the first layer, which is a front end of UI layers. Okay, Andy? So online students, is everyone audible about my? Okay, is everyone audible about my words and all? Okay, is everyone audible clearly? All my words? Okay, then guys, let's start the class. Okay, so in UI full stack, so what are the technologies tools we're gonna learn is so first one is HTML and followed by CSS and followed by JavaScript. Okay, JavaScript. So here HTML is a markup language and CSS is a cascading language and JavaScript is a so programming language. Okay. So after this we're gonna learn about the Angular JS. Okay, which is as a framework for the JavaScript and React JS. So it is also one of the familiar framework for JavaScript. Okay. So these are all the 5 tools we're gonna discuss in this UI development. Okay, so in this, so from today, so let's discuss about the. Okay, let's start with HTML because so in UI, so everything is interlinked and everything is step by step. From that, so we should start with HTML, followed with the CSS, followed with the JavaScript, and followed by so and later on it will be followed by so on going and all. Okay, so for that thing, so let's discuss about HTML and all. So what is HTML and all? Okay. So what is HTML? Okay, HTML is called as a hypertext markup language. Hypertext markup language. Okay, so what is the usage of this hypertext markup language? Okay, it was derived from the, if I'm not wrong, as you know about the family of languages. So one is object-oriented programming language and another is scripting language. So this hypertext markup language is derived or arrived from the scripting languages. Okay, scripting languages. So what is the specialty of scripting language? So dynamic coding is a specialty for scripting language. Then what is dynamic coding? So we will discuss all these things step by step, one by one. Okay, so the hypertext markup language, it was a markup language. Okay, then it was derived from the script family language, programming language family of scripting language. Why it was means it is a because of its dynamic coding nature. So scripting language having the dynamic coding nature, so that way it is a dynamic coding thing. So what is dynamic coding means? So we are not asked or we are not mandated to present the type of data we are presenting or which type of data we are presenting or nothing but of in general we can say scripting language are for the matured kind of language or nothing but of a language with the brain. Okay, So 1 minute, guys. A programming language with a brain. It's called. Okay. So scripting languages are called a programming language with a brain. So what is programming language with a brain? That means so we are not asked to provide type so spoon feeding type of so contemplation for the coding scripts we are writing. Okay. So for the type of scripts we are writing, we are not asked or mandated to present the condemnations. Okay, and the type of data we are presenting for the coding, and we are not asked to provide any no indentations. Okay, no indentation. That means so we can write this code as a script. That but of we are writing a paragraph in a. You can write this code in a like that we are writing a paragraph in a piece of paper. Okay, so without of any spaces, without of any notations, without of any quotations and all. Okay, we can easily write this code. Okay, guys, just 1 minute. So I will be back in 1 minute. Okay, guys. Okay. So that means whenever we are writing a or we are performing any scripting activity or coding activities in HTML, we are not asked to provide any punctuations or any syntactical formalities and all. Okay. Okay. So syntactical formalities and all or no indentation is required for our scripting in HTML. So that's why. So the code that we written in HTML is called as code in HTML is called as a script. Okay, we call the code that we are writing in a HTML is called as script. Okay, so this is about something basic we need basic terminology we need to learn. Okay, then we'll discuss about the execution engine. So what is execution engine? Okay, what is execution engine? So execution engine means the engines which is present inside any programming language for executing of code. Okay, so we write the code and it should be executed, right? That means it should provide some output for all the input. What is the input and output? So whatever may be the logic we are writing, that was called as code, and that code is the input we are providing for the computer to provide a specific and significant output for us, right? Okay, so for that specific and significant output we required, so we are providing some input. Okay, that input is nothing but of call that input is called as a source code. Okay, and that source code has to be validated, right? It should be validated and should be executed, and nothing but of it should be translated. It should be translated from higher level of language into the machine level of language. Nothing but of creation of converting of code in human level of language to binary code. Okay, so this process is done by this execution engines. Okay, how these execution engines are separated means so they are separated based on the type of programming language family that particular program is derived from. Okay, as HTML is derived from the scripting languages, the execution inside the execution engine which is executing the code in scripting language, it was interpreters. It was interpreters. So what is the specialty of interpreters means? It will execute the code in line by line. Line by then it will execute the code in line by line format. So okay, that means what is the line by line format means? So I will explain you all these things in this class. Okay, line by line means so how the code is presented means the way of the number of lines we present. Actually, if it was a programming language, so in each line of code we will be writing one command. Okay, we are declaring a variable, or we are declaring a method, or we are declaring a statement, or we are declaring a logic for that things. So in each and every line we declare some things. Okay, some logics or statements in a when it was a programming language, but it was a markup language, right? Okay, so here the entire what is markup language I will explain you. So then what is line by line means? So the entire code that we presented is validated or presented in a line by line format, in line by line format. So in each line is validated. If that line of code is correct, okay, it will be executed to the output. If any error is identified by the interpreter at some specific point of line, okay, so from there the entire execution of the program is stopped. Okay, that means so whenever, okay, so whenever a, so just 1 minute guys, I was having some trouble with this laptop. Okay, okay, so whenever an error is identified by the an error is identified by the interpreter, okay, so then from there itself entire remaining execution of code is exited. Okay, so whenever an interpreter is executing a line of code, that means we are discussing about interpreter. Whenever the interpreter is executing the code, okay, so from there itself, okay, so from that point of onwards, then from that point onwards the remaining code is made unexecuted, okay, by the interpreter. That means so if the interpreter finds an error at some specific point inside a line, so from that thing the remaining code is won't the interpreter won't go for the remaining code and will stop executing that code, remaining code. And also the partial output is presented by the interpreter. That means up to where the lines of code is correct, so that kind of okay, that means that code is executed and it is provided with the outputs. Okay, this is something about the interpreter. So interpreter, so there is no okay, so we are not asked to learn more about this interpreter in this HTML and all, okay, because it was a scripting, dynamic scripting, because of its dynamic scripting. Okay, so if I'm not wrong, it was more than enough for us to discuss in HTML about the interpreter. So it will execute the code in line by line. If any error is found by the interpreter in specific point of time in a or in a specific location in a line of code, so from there the entire remaining execution will be stopped. Okay, this is what about the interpreter inside a HTML, because it was a derived from the scripting language. Now let's discuss about the HTML. As it is a markup language, so what is the specialty of markup language means? So the comments inside the HTML are in the format of tag names. Okay, so in HTML the code is in format of the code is in format of tag names. So what is tag names means? So a name which is enclosed in between two angular braces. Okay, so in between these two angular braces, if the code is enclosed, okay, these are called angular braces. Okay, these are called as angular braces. So for example, uh, txample. Okay, so for example, so this is the representation of code in HTML. Okay, so we are provided with the keywords for a particular for presenting of code. So that keyword is represented in between these angular braces. So in this format, the HTML code is present in a format of, okay, this type of representation is called as okay, tag names representation. Okay, so why the code is inside the HTML is in the format of tag names means just because it is a markup language. It is a markup language, guys. Okay, so what is the help of this HTML? So what is it making? HTML usage. Okay, so using of HTML we can generate okay, we can generate, or we can prepare a layout for a web page. Okay, so we can prepare a layout for a web page. So what is web page? Okay, so we need to discuss about all these things. First of all, to know about HTML and all, what is it making, so we need to know about what is web page and all, what is web applications and all. Okay, so in all these things, okay, all these things are used to create web applications. Okay, so what is web applications, what is the desktop application, we will discuss in this class. Okay, so HTML is used to generate, or we can it is a or we can prepare a layout for a web page. So first of all, what is a web page? So before going to what is a going on what is web page, we will discuss about web application. Web application. So what is web application? Okay, there are two types of application that we are using. Nothing but of apps. Application, nothing but of apps. So we are having two types of apps. One is desktop application, another one is web application. Then what is a desktop application and what is web application? So for example, so we can say okay, let's see in this system what we are having. Okay, okay, you can see here. So you can see a Chrome over here, right? It was a application. All these are applications. Can we install an Amazon app here in this desktop? Can I install any Amazon app? We can install an Amazon app, right? And for example, so in our mobile, can we install Amazon or Flipkart app? So using of after installing of that app, so we can make that so e-commerce application or e-commerce interaction with that Amazon app or Flipkart or any other app. We can make that thing. So can only be can only we are restricted to use only the Amazon application in that app only. అంటే కేవలం మనం ఆ యొక్క యాప్ లో మాత్రమే దాన్ని యూజ్ చేయగలమా? It's not, right. So we can install the app. Okay, so we can install the Amazon app. We can make our e-commerce applications, or nothing but of e-commerce transactions we can make with it. Or if not, we can directly go to a search engine. Okay, can we go to search engine and type Amazon? Okay, so here the Amazon is offering us a application here, and we can using of this application too, we can make our commerce activities, right? Nothing but of so we can buy the products, right, using of this application too. So without of installing any kind of those applications in our device, so we can directly use the application with the help of a browser. Okay, so through that browser we can access that application and we can make our tasks or requirements achieved with that application, right? So but so after the working with this application, I can simply so close this application, right? Okay, so this was the differentiating between the web application and a desktop application. That means so whenever we are directly installing an application, so to our desktop or to our device, so that application is called as desktop applications. But no, this take it also. So guys, online students, am I audible clearly? Any? Hello? Guys, am I clear? Am I audible clearly? So can anyone respond? Can everyone hear my voice clearly?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please continue the session.
Okay, okay. Okay, so that means so we can directly install an application in our device. So and we can make the operations with that application, or if not, we can directly go with the we can take a take a browser. Okay, we can take a browser. Okay, and using that browser we can access the application. Okay, so if we are installing physically an application in our device, so it was that application is called as desktop applications. Okay, it was desktop applications, or without of the thing, without of directly installing a physical app in our device. So if you are accessing the services of that application using of a browser or using of internet inside a using of internet, using of a browser, we are accessing that application means that application is called a web application. Nothing of using of any website, using with the help of website. Nothing but of that website is, it should be started with HTTPS. So have you aware of this thing? So hypertext, topographic, prototype, security. So HTTPS. So you are aware about this. Or so you can also have a www dot World Wide Web Consortium. Okay, www dot World Wide Web Consortium it was called. So either it was actually it was a URL, right? It's an URL, but so this is what the website refer for. Nothing but of web application, nothing but of website refer for. So we should access with the help of a medium called browser. So we can directly access the application and have the services of that application. So for us without of any physical installation, or so having an application on our desktop, so through the server we can connect to the application, and it will present all the data, and we can use the data, and we can make our own requirement and functionalities, guys. Okay, so this is what about a web application, nothing but of an application which is used with the help of browser. Okay, now state me, so which application I have you open here? It's a web application or desktop application? It's a web application. Why? Because I have used a Chrome browser here, and I have made it with the help of search engine. So I have log into the here, and you can see here. Okay, this was the address of that web application. Okay, so then using of HTML, we can create the interface of this application. What is interface means? So the thing whatever you are seeing, yeah, on your screen, this is all called as okay, it's an interface. Okay, you can say it's all the interface. That means of an interactive. What is an interface mean? It is an interactable element directly with the consumer or the user. Okay, so you can see here. Okay, here we are provided with n number of things. You can see here it's a search bar here. Okay, you can see here it is a, so there is was called as a drop down box, we call that. And all these are, okay, you can see all these are so buttons, because whenever we are clicking, or we are making a clicking operation on those buttons, we are having some other so information that was provided for us. And this was called as a logo, because logo is for just only for providing information regarding which application we are using. Okay, so here this is called the logo. So this was called one of the button. So this is called as a drop down box. This is called as some work area. This is a button. Okay, so and all the things we are seeing is buttons. Okay, you can see some pictures here, and also we can see some videos playing over in our website. Okay, and also we can see some text and all. Okay, so all these are called as elements. Which elements? Just because we are using all these thing in a, we are seeing all these thing in a web page, right? So for that thing, so all these elements, each individual element is called as web elements. So if it was a text type of data, it was text web element. If it was a photo type of picture type of data, it was called as a picture type of element. If it was a button, if it was a button type of element. Okay, so using of this HTML, we can create a structure for this web page. Okay, by using of this thing, nothing but of so creating an element on a web page, and making that responsive with the user, or nothing but of making user to communicate and interact with the web elements. Okay, so nothing but of creation of all these web elements, and arranging them according to the user defined format. Okay, this is what the web applications HTML will do for the web applications. Nothing but of using of HTML we can create web pages. Okay, so what is web page? So before going to this web page, let's see what is web applications. So what is web application means? Web application is a group of web pages, a group of web pages which are interlinked to each other, which are interlinked to each other. Okay, so a group of web pages which are interlinked to each other are having a what is interlinked means having a navigational link. That means we can navigate from one page to another page, right? So just by after scrolling to the end of the page, so we will see a next button over here, or you can see move to the next page and all. Okay, so just clicking that button, it will be navigated to next page, right? Or for example, this is the page we are having. Okay, okay, this is the place we are having all these things. Just wait, guys. Okay, so this is the place, this is the page we are having on our web application. So now I was just clicking this laptops and accessories thing. So after that clicking it, you can see here, so it was navigated to another app, right? And nothing but of another page, right? Okay, that means web application is nothing but of a group of web pages which are interlinked, or which are navigated from one page to another page by the user actions. So this was the definition for the web applications. And then what is this web page? So I said here a group of web pages, I said, right? So what is this web page? So web page means a group of or collection of a group of or collection of web elements, a group of or a collection of web elements. Okay, so what is web application means? It is a group of web pages which are linked each other with the which are linked or navigated with each other is called web application. Then what is web page means? So a group of or collection of web elements which are aligned according to user choice, according to the user choice. So what is user choice means? So there is no specific mandate or there is no specific path that a web application has to be or a web element has to be aligned in this place only. Okay, we can see n number of web applications, or we can see n number of applications which is having its own unique interface, right? So whenever we are using Amazon, it is having its unique interface. So and whenever you are opening a Flipkart, so it is having its unique interface. Or whenever you are using some railway portals and all, it is having its unique interface. So each and every interface, each and every application is having their interface of its own unique way. Okay, there is no such mandate that it should have this kind of approach for the users. Okay, so the main it means so we can generate or we can design our web page based on our choice. Okay, so but we should be keep in mind before designing any website, so that we are designing for the vast number of society or vast number of users. So we should be kept in mind about a few points regarding it. So I will discuss about a few points. So what is web page means? It is a collection of web elements aligned according to the user choice. So what is web elements then? So I have stated it right. You can see. So whatever the things that you are seeing in this web page is everything is a web element. Okay, you can see it is a button web element. It is a text type of. It is a input. It is called as a input web element. Okay, it's, you can see it is a picture web element actually. So these are called, these are created based on the using of iframes tag. Okay, so for presenting of any advertisements and all. Okay, so this is called, these are called as okay, it is a frame type of or frames type of web elements, or this is a image type of web element. Okay, you can see here type of web elements. you can see here it is a text type of web element. Okay, so and you can see here some these are interactive elements which are acting as a buttons. So whenever you are clicking Facebook, so it will navigate to the Amazon Facebook interface. Okay, so in this format, so we will arrange and align all these web elements according to our own choice or according to the user choice. So this is what we are gonna make with this HTML. So this is how we can we are gonna so align these web elements in a web page. So then what is web? We have discussed about the web application. We have discussed about the web page, and now let's we discuss about the web element. What is web element? Okay, so what is web element means? So you can see I have stated that it is a web element. Everything in a web page is a web element. So what is also how can you define this web element? What is the purpose of this web element? It is nothing but of providing information or making interaction with the user, right? So each and every web element, so what it will make an interaction with the user, right? You can see here, so fresh tomatoes local 1 kg, so it is providing some information. Okay, so it's cost around 23 rupees, so it is around it. So whenever we are clicking it, so we are directed to the so buying option page for this tomatoes and all in a so Amazon Fresh app. So that means we are interacting with this web elements. Okay, if you wanted to access the web application or web page, so what is it having? It is having a group of or collection of web elements, and those web elements are called the direct interactable elements mediums for the user to the web page. If you wanted to interact with the web page, we will directly interact with using the help of this web elements. Okay, everything in a web page is called as web elements. Okay, so now how can I define the web element means? So it is the interactable mediums with the users and a web page. Okay, so this is the interactable mediums with the user and web pages. So that is either it may pass some information, or it may make some functionalities, or it make some work to achieve one. Okay, whatever may be. So these are the directly interactable elements with the users. So this is what about the definition regarding web application, web page, and web elements. So using of this HTML, we can so create a structure for the web pages by aligning the web elements according to our user choice. Okay guys, so this is what about the HTML. Okay, so HTML and all. So now let's discuss about the types of web pages. Types of web pages, guys. So what are the types of web pages we are having in a I mean in market, or nothing but of in so in internet, what type of web applications we are having? So so in the internet world, so we are having three types of web pages. One is static web pages. Second one is dynamic web pages, and third one is okay, data pages. Okay, so data page, in this thing we will discuss only with the static web page and dynamic web pages. So we don't want to discuss about this data pages. Okay, so I will explain you but I will explain you what is the data pages and all. Okay, at the moment they may call as database pages. Okay, so static web pages. So what is static web pages? So example I will say IRCTC. Okay, so or post office. IRCTC, post office websites are all government websites. So government websites. So all these are examples for static web pages. So what, first of all, what is static web pages and all? So what is static web pages? So throughout a period of time, its interface is static or constant for all the users, so who are accessing it, accessing it. Okay, so throughout a period of time, its interface is static or static for all the users, so who are accessing it. That means so for example, we are having three people we are having. So the all our three people are opened IRCTC app. So does all the three people are getting same kind of interface? Okay, so okay kind of interface వస్తుందా మనందరికీ కూడా? Okay, we are having same kind of interface whenever we are opening any government portals like other e-Aadhaar centers, or for updation of others, or for updation of PAN cards and all, or for updation of ration cards and all, like, or updation of, or for applying for the driving license and all, like, or for IRCTs or for post office and all. So how many member of people may open the website at a time? So each and every person are getting the same interface. Whether the interface is changing for person to person? No, it is not changing for person to person, right? So everyone is getting the same kind of interface. That matter of same kind of web page is opening, and that web page is containing same kind of web elements in a same alignment format. Okay, and it is a static for a longer period of time. A long period of time I need to mention here. Okay, through a long period of time it is static. That means it is won't having any changes. So those kind of web pages are called, those kind of web applications are called static web pages or static web applications. Okay, then what is web application? Why have I have stated it at static web page means? So whenever we are opening a web application, we are getting a web page on our interface, right, on our screen, right? Only, so how many web applications we may open, but at single time, so we can see only single page in the web application. That's why I have stated here static web pages. That means the interface or the element won't change from person to person over a period of time. So this is called static web page. The examples are government portals, so IRCTC portals, post office portals, etc. Okay, so these are the static web pages. Then what is dynamic web pages? So it is that quite opposite to the static web page. That means so for example, we are having three people over here. Okay, so we have opened so three people have opened at a time Amazon applications. Does the three people are getting the same interface? Right? Does the people are getting the same interface? So one may get interface which is related to the its preferences and searches. Okay, he may made searches regarding shoes and all. Okay, he can get the interface regarding the interface which is promoting him to buy shoes. Okay, so another person may interested in mobiles, so he have made searches regarding the mobile. So for that thing, is the interface which is promoting the mobiles or electronic device is been appeared on his device. So and the third person, based on his preference and choice in the Google search and all, okay, so he will get a different interface. Okay, whenever a number of people are opening an application, okay, at the same time, same application means, so each person is getting the different dynamic way of interfaces for him. And whenever we are refreshing the same thing, we are not getting the same page that we got in the last thing. Okay, for example, at 11:17 I have opened Amazon application. So I got some interface here. So let's see with the example. Okay, this is what the interface I was getting. I will refresh this place. Amazon.in. Okay, so this was my first interface whenever I have you open the Amazon. Okay, so it has opened here. So whenever I was making a refresh over it, you can see, so there is some slight changes in this interface, right? Okay, there is some slight changes in this interface, right? So I will again refresh it, and you can see, so there is somewhat changes will happen, and every time we are accessing that application, so the interface is changing. So yeah, for example, you can say here in the last week it have shown about some cloths. Now it was showing some, so cleaning commodities or like tissues and all. Now it is showing some pet meals. Okay, so that means, so in every second or every point of time, the interface of an application is getting changed from person to person, from time to time, and from device to device. So these kind of applications are called as dynamic web applications or dynamic web pages. Okay, so because they are not static, and so they will get changed from time to time and person to person. Okay, so those kind of web applications are called as so dynamic web pages. So example, we can say Amazon, Flipkart, or any e-commerce websites. All these are okay, will come under side, will come under to the, so dynamic web pages. That means their interface won't be stable for time to time, person to person, and time to time, person to person, and device to device. Okay, so it is count keep on changing the interface every all the time. So based on all these things, so those kind of web applications are called web dynamic web applications, are dynamic web pages. Then what is this data pages? That means, so this database page means, so these are not all viewable page. Okay, so viewable pages for the users and all, for the public they won't be displayed. So these are used to store the data for data storages. Okay, okay, so these are database are not are even though they are web applications, database are applications, so their interface may have changed from, so requirement to require. Okay, so based on the type of data is presenting, quantity of data is presenting, quality of data is presenting, and approach of data the user is presenting, these database pages have may get interface of this database may get changes. Okay guys, so there is no need to discuss about this database, but we need to learn about this thing. So this database are completely of okay, so unnatural in this okay, what is called unstable. It's not unstable, they are stable only. So with this mixing of this over a long period of time, so interface we won't get changes. But how this won't get changes means, so based on the uh, way of it was presented. So when we presented a data in a tabular format means the table is present for a long period of time, it won't get changes until and unless we make any changes for it. Okay, so in this format the database also having, okay, database are also called are somewhat examples for the web applications, but we will discuss about only about the static and dynamic web pages. Clear? So I think you have a clear view about the static web page and dynamic web pages. Okay, guys, so using of this HTML we create so the web pages for the static web applications are either for dynamic web applications. So we will conjoin all these CSS and all this JavaScript, all these Angular, React for these web applications, which is the which web page which was created using of HTML and all. Okay, guys. So this is something what about the introduction towards the user interface, and I think you got something view about this. What is HTML is make and all. Okay, so as HTML is derived from the scripting language, and it was a markup language. The script, the code is in the format of tag names. What is tag names means? It was enclosed in between two angular brackets. Two angular brackets. Okay, so in this tag names only, so we read about tag name for creation of web element. So we are provided with a predefined tag name. Using of the tag name, so we can use a tag name, and we can uh, present or create the web element on a web page. Okay, so this is what about the HTML, and now web HTML, and about the web types of web pages or web applications. So now we discuss about okay, about the output of HTML. So how will be the output of HTML? So what is the output of HTML means? A developed or designed, a designed web page which is opened on a browser. Okay, so what is the output of HTML means? So when after completing our entire scripting in HTML, so we will save the file, and if you run that file, okay, the output will be generated on the generated on a browser tab. The output will be generated. So then what was the output means? So a designed or a developed web page is the output. So we can directly have a physical view about the output. That's because we are preparing a interface, right? What is the interface mean? It's a physical entity which is visible for the visible on the screen, and which can have interaction with the user. Okay, so that kind of physical web page is appeared or generated whenever after the completion of scripting in HTML, and when we run the code. So, okay, so I will show you in the tomorrow's, okay, I will show in the next class how they will execute it, and how to save the file, and how to run the file, and how to make a scripting and all. Okay, guys. Okay, online students. So please try to respond. So are you clear about today's class? Have you understood anything? Or are you having any doubt regarding today's class? Okay, then okay, guys. So try to speak it out, and okay, then only I can understand. So either I was uh, communicating or transferring of so content towards you or not. Okay, if you are having any doubts regarding with what are the concept I was explaining, so you can raise your voice, and you can ask any number of times, and I was open here to so explain you any number of times regarding your concept and all. So okay, so I was completely open for you to explain any number of times, but the thing that is lagging is, so you need to ask about me. So otherwise I will, I think myself, so I have explained it clearly, and you got my point and all. Okay, so this is what about today's class, guys, and in tomorrow's class we will discuss about the so basic layout of web page. Okay, then so basic tags in HTML. Okay, we will discuss about the basic tags in HTML. The structure, nothing but of basic tags are nothing but of structure of HTML. Structure of HTML, guys. Okay, so we will, in tomorrow's class we will discuss about these two concepts, and they are something interesting too, and they also easy too. Okay, so and people who are and one more for the one more important notice for the people who have joined in online. So people who have joined in today's class, okay, so please try to communicate with your what we call, so with the corresponding HR. So people who have shared you this class link. Okay, so please correspond or communicate with that madam. So she will send the she will add you in a group, and send all the notes regarding today's class and upcoming classes too. And all these class recordings are being posted in a web portal, and you are being, okay, so you will be given access to view all the videos for 6 months of free. So guys, you can share these videos to anyone, so you can have a look over those videos for referring, or for if you are for the referring whenever you may absent for for the class which are you are which you have absent, or for So if you wanted to refer one more time for your practice and all, okay, so you will be given a video access for 6 months of time. So if you want all those access, you can contact to the HR you have who have shared the link for your classes. Okay, guys. So just make a just pin a comment for pin a message for the HR madam. So we have shared this link for you guys. Okay, this was the about today's class, and in tomorrow's class we will deal with this layout of web pages and basic tags in HTML. So and how to save the HTML file, how to save this HTML file, and and how to run the file. Nothing but of how to run the file. Okay, so in tomorrow class we will discuss about all these topics, guys. Okay, so once I will again I will so just what we call, okay, resume the class and else, okay, not resume the class. Okay, I will recap the class whatever we have discussed in this class. So in today's class we have discussed about what is HTML. So from which scripting language is scripting language the scripting the HTML is derived. It was derived from the, so HTML means it was a hypertext markup language which was derived from the scripting languages family. So why it was means as the scripting language family are familiar for the dynamic coding. So the entire coding or entire scripting in HTML is in a dynamic format without of any punctuations or without of any indentations. We can directly write like a script. That's why the code that we write in HTML is called as script. Okay, as the HTML is originated or derived from the scripting language family, so the execution engine inside HTML is interpreter. So what is interpreter means? It will execute the code in line by line format. Okay, then we have discussed about the HTML, why HTML is used means. So using of HTML we can create the structure for a web page. Then what is a web page means? Web page means it is a collection or group of interactable web elements. So then what is an web element means? Okay, it is an individual interacting medium on a web page with the user directly. The user can directly interact with the web element to access any functionalities in that web page. Then what is a web application? The group of or collection of web pages which are integrated to each other and navigated to each other is called as a web application. Then what is the types of types of application we are having means? We are having two types of applications. One is web application and another one is desktop application. So what is the difference between the desktop application and web application means? So in desktop applications, okay, desktop application means so we need to so have a application or nothing but of app in our desktop or in our device. We need a physical structured app on our device. It was a desktop application. So then what is web application means? So using a browser, with the help of a browser, whenever we are directly connected to, we are directly connecting the web connecting the application with the help of a server. Okay, with the help of a server, whenever we are connecting with that application and using the services of that application with the medium with a medium or platform called as browser. So this application is called as a web application. Using of HTML we can create structure for only structure for web page of only related to web application, but not the desktop application. We cannot create desktop application page using of HTML. Okay, guys. So and types of web applications or web pages. So we are having entirely of three types of so web applications. One is static web applications, nothing but of static web pages, or dynamic web pages, or database pages. So what is static page means? Over a period of time or whatever maybe the count of people it was opening, so whatever maybe the type of device it was opening, whatever maybe the time it was opening, the interface for from person to person or from time to time or from device to device won't get changed. It will be a static thing. Okay, won't get changes. The interface is common for all the users. These type of web applications or web pages are called as static web pages. For example, all the government portals, we can say, you can place a common example as all the government portals are called static web pages. Then what is dynamic web page means? So from person to person, from time to time and from device to device. So every time and every second, the interface is getting changes means. The interface getting changed means, so those application is called as web dynamic web applications. So what does the example means? We can say any kind of application, e-commerce websites are called as so dynamic web pages or dynamic web applications. Why? Because when in a group of people, each person is opening the same application at the same time in a same device, in a different device means. So the interface of a web page is changing itself. Okay, so and also whenever we are refreshing the page, so we are getting a new interface all the time. So nothing but of new elements been applied, new posts will be, new posts are also been applied. That means interface is changing time to time from person to person based on his browser usage. Okay, so this through this thing, okay, through this thing, the dynamic web pages are defined. So what is the example for dynamic web page means? All the e-commerce websites are a best example for dynamic web pages. Okay, so and what is database page means? Database pages are called as they are, we cannot say it is a dynamic or it is a static. It is a hybrid data web page, we can say. Why? Because so in which format we are presenting the data, it will be static. Okay, and based on our axis point it will be showing. Okay, it is having both the concept of dynamic and also static things. Okay, the data is static but the appearance may get changes because based on the searches and all. Okay, so for this all okay, we know we don't need to discuss about the database and database pages about in HTML and all. So we will discuss about dynamic or static web pages. So clear? So this is all about today's class, guys, and tomorrow's class we will discuss about so basic tags and the basic layout of the web pages, basic tags in HTML, the basic structure of HTML, and how to save the file after the scripting is completed in HTML, and how to run that saved file, and how the output is generated. Okay, one more point. What was what was the output for the HTML code that we written means? It was a so designed or developed web page on a browser. Appearing a designed and developed web page on a browser is the output for scripting that we make in HTML. Okay, guys. So this was about today's class, guys, and hope you have understand the class clearly. And I was stating one more point. So if you are not getting any point that I was stating, so you can raise your voice at the same time and you can ask me, and I was open to answer any number of times. Guys, okay, so this is about today's class, guys, and it's time for pausing of today's class, and let's continue in the next session, guys. I mean tomorrow class at exactly at 10:30 to 11:30. So please try to join before 10:30 or before 10:35. Okay, in the same link. So please try to join, guys. Okay, so thank you for in my class, and have a nice day, guys.